We are recording, and it's gonna get edited.
Live from Sydney,
Melbourne.
your host, Marcy.
Okay. Hello, Expressionist. Today we have a special guest, Max Saint Lorent, who is a mental health therapist, and he's got experience with drug addiction and homelessness. Thank you, Max, for being part of our show.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Marcy. It's a real pleasure. A big fan of podcasts in general, and this is my first time.
All right, so a little bit about you. You're living in Montreal, Canada. Is that right? But you've also lived in Korea and India.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
the truth is that I'm living right now in the basement of my father's house on the outskirts of Montreal because I'm doing a project and I have very low budget, and maybe we can dive into that later on. But that's the truth. But I've been living most of my life in Montreal. Yeah.
We are going to start somewhere, don't we? I'm in the same boat. And what we're going to get later on is what the project that you're starting with, which is cultivating happiness and working with people individually and globally thanks to the internet.
Yeah.
So before we start, I just want to read a short little poem that I wrote so that we can elaborate on it. It doesn't have a title. There's cycles within cycles. There's seasons within seasons. Our inner world and outer world, connected and centered, aligned through the heart. Stay in your element, stay alive. Don't just eat to survive, but live and thrive. So Max.
Wow, that was good. I like the last part. Yeah.
Live and thrive, baby.
Eat to survive, live to strive. That sums up my last year's decisions. Yeah, I like that.
So I guess to sum it up is when we are living in this day and age, we all want to find our purpose, our reason to be here. So what would you say, like, how did you find your purpose in life? Like, was it always clear or did it get louder in time?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I think our generation is really messed up a bit generation. I don't want to use a negative word, but it's definitely a generation that is going in a new direction. And what I'm feeling is that we're kind of in the middle of the change. Like people around me, what I'm feeling is that we're kind of like not satisfied with our lives. We're kind of in the footsteps of our parents, which, they were working, 40 hours a week, 8 hours a day, 8 to 5. And that model was from industrial period. And we're just past that time now. And we see like new companies like Google who are implementing new systems where they're just like, okay, I have a basic, you have these tasks to do. If you do these tasks, then you're good to go, So I don't care how many hours you work or whatever. And, usually a person, I think the researchers show that like it's like 4 or 5 productive hours per day that you spent at work. So you're losing so much time. So I think more and more are kind of like realizing this in our generation and are really fed up from the 8 to 5 and 7 days a week, 5 days a week. So they're kind of like looking for something else. And nowadays it's not just, okay, I need the money and I need to make a family, but it's also I need to be happy and I need to be fulfilled and I need to do a job that's in line with my values. So what am I going to do with all this? So there's like 2 types of people. There's the people who, are aware of this, but still work in that system or trying to find something else. And then there's other people who are like, trying something different. And sometimes they're suffering the consequences, like not having much money or comfort, but are looking to you know, pierce a new pathway or new lifestyles and this and that. And I know like lifestyle is like really big right now and like a hot topic, but I think yeah, it's possible, and it's just finding your type of lifestyle to be happy and feel fulfilled. So to answer the question, it's a constant not battle, but it's a constant quest. It's not like you get there and then boom, you're good, you know. Like I have this friend, you know, his dream was, he thought he wanted to build this company, and once he'd get there, you know, he was like, okay, I'm gonna be good, you know, like self-fulfilled or this or that. And then we didn't really believe in him, but he actually made a pretty cool company. It's like, I'm not gonna say what because it's negative after what I'm gonna say. So, and then once he got there, actually, he's making like a lot of, you know, a few grand a month with his own thing, and doesn't work for anybody else but himself. And the guy is miserable. He's like drinking and taking a lot of drugs just because he doesn't like, you know, it there's no like end point. You know, you get to where you thought you needed to be happy, and then it's not like you thought it would be. So it's a, you know, it's trying to be happy in the process.
Was that his company is something he always wanted to do, or did he just do it for the money, or?
Yeah, both. It was kind of like, I think it's just sometimes we put like these goals to ourselves and we're just thinking, okay, if only I had this, or when I'll achieve that, then this and this are gonna happen, or I'm gonna feel this and that way. And, you know, usually it's more like the process, you know, it's more like the journey. I know it sounds really cliche, it's more the journey, but I think we really need to understand that, because if you listen to people who actually like realize a lot of their dreams or this or that, they're all going to tell you like, it's not, you know, it's the journey. So
you getting to the point that like we're all not happy until we reach that final destination, and then we do that and then we're still not happy, right?
Yeah, I think that's a trap. It's kind of like, okay, if I go on Australian Idol, you guys have a American Idol, like kind of thing? Okay, that type of show. Okay, if I get there and I get the audition and I get the record contract, whatever, then my life's going to be great. And, you know, you get to that point and usually people are miserable. It's kind of like people who win the lottery, you know, if only I could get that $1 million, my life would be perfect afterwards. And research shows, or make a search. I'm like, in Australia, it's for sure the same as in Canada or the US. And like the rate of suicide is incredible for people who actually get their money. And usually they spend all the money within a few years, and they do it on purpose to get rid of it because it's not like they thought it would be. So
that guilt,
am I being negative?
Feeling.
No.
I like the honesty. It's so true. Because but also it's the hard work that we have to get to. It's like, yes, we have to get there, but like, are we aware of the work that we have to put in? And
I think that's a trap, like to no, let's not get into that.
Let's stay focused on you. How you like your purpose, you know, like how, like, okay, let's talk about your project, Cultivating Happiness. How, like, you know, how did you find, like, you know, this is what I have to do, not because of money or happiness, but this is like your purpose that you are here born to do?
No, I'm just doing it for the money. Interview.
You sounded so serious.
All my stocks are into petrol and
then you're gonna fly to Mars with that money. Okay. Of course.
Okay, no, I'm thinking about Australian and white sharks, but okay, so let's focus. So yeah, I go back from a long time. My purpose, Okay, so I dropped out of school when I was 15, and I wanted to become a musician, and I got really badly injured, like in a really weird type of way. I got tendonitis. In French is tendinite. It's when your nerves burn and you can't use them anymore because they really hurt. So I was a drummer, and that happened. So I was like full-time drummer, and that happened, and I couldn't drum anymore, and just time passed on, and then I stopped. And then I got really depressed, and then I was just always searching for what was the next step kind of thing. And eventually I went back to school and studied psychology, and became, I wanted to do like something meaningful with my life and just have an impact on people. And I thought, like, okay, what's like the coolest thing or like most noble thing I can do with my life or whatever. And it was like help others or stuff like that. For me, that was the ultimate. So I got into intervention, and I did that with homeless people for like about, I want to say 6 years. On and off, and yeah, that was a hell of an experience. Almost died, and but it was really cool. I learned a lot of stuff and met a lot of really, really cool homeless people, and just cool people in general. And after that, I just I went and traveled a bit just to breathe it out, and I wasn't sure like what I wanted to do after that. And met you in India. Mm-hmm. And yeah,
like it was
India, brother, sister. Yeah, that was a lifelong dream. I wanted to, I don't know, people were talking about India, and I just felt really jealous, and I felt like, there's something there. I always dreamed to like, go on the spiritual quest, and I read these books on, these really powerful gurus with like special powers and this and that. And then, I went to India, and it was really cool. I learned a lot. And when I was there, it was just awesome. But when I came back, it's just like, it hit me in the face. Like, it was just like,
I feel you.
Like, I was living on Mars or something like that. And I came back, and nothing that I've learned was applicable.
That's a culture shock when you go back, right?
I felt like a little bit, like, it's just like, I didn't feel at home anymore. And that feels so cliche, but man, that's what it was. I was in the streets, and it was just like, I don't want to be here anymore. I was in Montreal, and it was just like all the people in the traffic, and I was like, I want to be in India. Like, what is this? Like, I don't like it. I just don't like my hometown anymore. It's so weird.
I know. I remember when I came back, and I went to buy veggies with my mom, and I saw all these big vegetables and so many choices, and I was like, how can people eat so much? Where's the small market with a bit of herbs, a bit of spices, and a bit of rice? I was like, what?
Yeah,
all the people do is eat. Do they have anything else to do?
And
it's for me, magic was gone,
Yeah. You see things differently. It's kind of like, it's like traveling can open your eyes on a lot of stuff, and it can be really cool, but then it's kind of like, okay, now my eyes are open on some new things, so there's no turning back. I don't know if you felt like that for a few things.
Well, you got to bring the magic back, and you just got to keep the eyes open, I guess. And use what you learned, which is going to go to our next question.
Oh, can I just finish that one real quick? I just wanted to say that, for the people who are traveling and coming back and feel really confused. Like, I have this friend coming back from Colombia. She went for 3 months in Colombia for internship, and she stayed 2 years. And she came back like hitchhiking to Canada. It was just, I don't even understand how she managed like the budget or whatever. And I think she had that at the end. But and she's here, and she's just like completely lost, and she's really doing like nothing with her life, like literally nothing for the last 4 months. I think she's smoking weed in the room, and that's pretty much it, in the countryside. And her mom doesn't want her to live there anymore. That's how bad it is. So she's with her sister. But and now she's going to BC to pick fruits, which is a really cool thing. If any Aussie want to come on a work permit, picking fruits in the West is really cool. Okay, so and then Yeah, but the point I wanted to make is that it eventually blends in, like what you've learned and the person you've become, like traveling, this, that, and then culture shock, you come back, and then after a few months without noticing it, just be patient with it. It is kind of like gonna fit it. Your new person is kind of like gonna, two cultures are kind of like bash into together, and then you kind of, okay, I know what I want to do now. Okay, oh yeah. So it's not like you thought it would be. Like when I came back, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna become like this meditation teacher, and everybody's gonna listen to me because I live near the Dalai Lama, His Holiness, blah blah blah, in your face. But nobody cared about meditation when I came back. So, but now I'm kind of finding like my own way of integrating all these things with psychology and the reality here. But yeah, so keyword patience and perseverance.
Thank you for sharing that. I feel like so many people need to hear that. I wish I heard that when I got back, because you just want to keep going. You just want to keep, and you're like, maybe I can keep going, but where does it get to?
Yeah, and exactly. And I felt the same as like, and I think that's what my friend is doing. She's leaving right now for BC, and I think it's a mistake, because we all feel that. I'm sure you feel that way. Is you come back and it's just kind of like a rejection or of some sort. You feel like you want to reject your hometown or whatever and go back to traveling because that's like so much better. But I think that's a mistake. I think you need to stay and let the ripples settle down for the lake to be clear, and then you can see something new. I think if you go back traveling, like a lot of people that I know, I think you're gonna get into that pattern of always moving. And I don't like to say that, oh, you're traveling so you're escaping, I've never liked that.
But Marley said it.
Who said it?
But Marley.
Which song?
You keep running away from yourself.
Well, Bob Marley was wrong. Note that. No. I don't know. He traveled quite a bit. But yeah, no, I think it's like just a life enhancer, like I think everybody should travel at one point in their life, like being faced with, different cultures and just things that are going to shock you or really like mind opening. But if you keep doing it, I think it's kind of like, why are you always doing cocaine, or why are you always like, okay, you can edit that out if you want.
I think listeners might like to hear that. Just watch how many trains you're taking,
anything that you do, like that becomes a habit, I think is kind of like,
it's like having a bit of control over your vehicle.
Just I think moving on and trying new things is important. I think repeating, and ultimately it all comes down to the people that I know that are always traveling are not necessarily the happiest. That was the main for me, from what I saw. That was no. I see your hands here.
I don't know. It's you have to really get to know them on a deep level to sort of say that. I mean, right. I know happiness could be like, you can look happy on the outside, but then the inside is like completely different. But only you know that. Like only you know what's going on inside.
I kind of agree with that and disagree with myself. You got me there. No, but I think it's too complex to like generalize. If you're traveling all the time, you're miserable. But I don't know. I know people that it's part of like their yoga coaches or whatever, and they're always on the move and this and that. And I felt like a genuine happiness from them. But I know a lot of people that on their Instagram and Facebook, they look like living the big life on the beaches all the time and this and that. But when you actually spend more time with them, they're actually really miserable and running away from like a childhood abuse or whatever, or something like really deep and really dark. So I don't know. So many different people, I guess. So we can't put tags, but yeah.
So can you share some? Oh no, there's so many like words to take this one.
Okay. Let that sink in.
So I guess like to stay back on track and stay grounded, get back into your goals, some sort of daily routine or practice that could contribute to you, for you to stay focused. Can you share some of yours?
Okay, I absolutely love that question because if you haven't noticed already, I have a really bad case of ADD.
Really? What's that?
Yeah. So that was a main point with me. Okay, so what happened? Came back from India, went back to drug addiction, not drug addict, but drug addiction, working as a counselor. And then when I stopped that, because I just felt like the system couldn't provide for me a way or a vehicle to accomplish what I really felt I needed to accomplish, like internally. I wanted to do my own projects, but then my ADD was just so bad. I just felt like I was at a point in my life where I wasn't the person I was supposed to be. Like I'm like, I just got 30 and I was like, man, I really feel that I could be more right now. Like I'm not at my level, you know, I'm not fully myself. And a big part of that was just that I was constantly moving or going, you know, traveling from one place to the other, or, you know, jumping on new projects or this or that. And so for me personally, I really needed to slow everything down. And that was like really painful and really like difficult, and getting out of like usual patterns. I discovered something called, in French, it's PNL. It's neuro-linguistics. I don't know if you know about, but basically, yeah, I started learning about that and how you can get out of like your usual patterns to actually get out more, like get more out of your goals, or how to attain your goals. And a lot of that was like, yeah, breaking old habits and also making new habits, and not always thriving towards like sensible pleasures. Like, let's say, oh, let's go, you know, on, you know, I don't know, let's go hitchhike towards there, or let's, I don't know, like something really basic. Just staying focused and you know, finding like a bigger objective and going towards that, instead of just like a short term cool stuff all the time, you know? Because I felt like if you add all these cool little stuff all the time, these cool little trips all the time, it's like years and years, and you're like, wow, I feel like I didn't build anything. And sometimes like you feel like it's too, if you want to build something or start something, it feels like, oh, it's way too much or this or that. But I really believe in, if you do something every day, just a little bit, like it really adds up. Like just putting on a sheet of paper, like goals, setting goals, and just accomplishing those little, like do little, you know, boxes, and you just check them out one after the other. And then, you know, you feel better about yourself because you're going forward, you're moving, and you can actually see like your progress, and you start feeling it, and you get a momentum. And like when you lose focus and you go outside of that, of your planning, you start losing like self-respect or self-esteem, because you feel like you're not going towards those goals. So it's kind of like a magnet. You just want to accomplish even more because you just feel so good about it, and this and that. And I have to say that my morning routine, that I think that was the first thing I ever did, was settle a morning routine. Like when you wake up, what do you do? That's really important, because that's going to dictate your day. That was the first thing. Second thing was starting working out. Never worked out, never liked it. I was more like the artist. My brother was the football player. So, you know, fuck being a jock and all that. But actually, you know, you can read about psychology and try to get your mind straight. But if you just work out, actually, your mind's going to be straight automatically. So it's like, if you start with the body, the mind's going to follow.
So is that you do a workout when you first wake up, or?
So my morning routine for me is I drink a lot of water. I drink like, I don't even know how much, but it's quite a lot. And there's different things in it. There's like salt and lemon juice to get like rehydrated, because you lose a lot of water during your sleep. And there's also protein in that water to just like get me like, I don't know, it just starts my day. Like I have also because I have how do you call it when you don't eat certain things, but I have a diet, really strict diet. That also is another thing. But yeah, so I start the day with vitamins, protein, and then get out of bed and I'll walk. If you walk a little bit, your brain is gonna kick into like a enjoying mode. Think of your body like a car. If you get into the car and you start up and you press on the gas right away, like if you're from a winter place like I am from, where it's minus 30, 35, if you did that, you're going to break your car. You have to let it like warm up, So it's, even if it's summertime or whatever, you have to do that too. So with our body, when we wake up in the morning, I think most people just wake up and it's like, I gotta have my coffee, and then boom, they chug their coffee, and then they go in the shower and there's 20 gallons of hot water on their body, and then they fly to work with maybe like, I don't know, a pretzel in their hand to eat on the way or something. French croissant for French, but that's like, that's pretty bad for your body.
I have never felt minus 30 degrees.
It's have you ever seen Titanic?
Yes.
When Jack says, if you fall in the water, it's like piercing knives, piercing your skin. It's really like that. He was right. Yeah.
Ouch.
When the wind blows in between the buildings, it comes inside your winter jacket, and it really hurts you.
Wow. It hurts in the bones.
Advertisement for tourism in Canada. Go.
So now that you're focused and you've got your goals and you're ticking your boxes and you're doing your thing, where do you see yourself and your project going into the future?
I think in order to not lose faith in any projects or goals that you have, I think you have to set a pretty big goal, and you have to think like it has to be worth it. If it's just a small goal, I want to accomplish to get my dog out today twice so he goes and pee. I think that's too much. That's not big enough of a goal. I think it has to, don't get me wrong. Like small goals is also good because it gets you somewhere, but like the main goal, I think it has to be like pretty big. So for myself, I really want to be fully independent and live from out of this thing that I'm creating based on happiness, and and just have a bigger impact on people. That's the main goal. Like I just want to like share the knowledge I have, and also make a difference in the way that I can, and trying to just find my special own skill, finding that skill, applying it. And then I think that's when people shine the most. And I think the goal is to shine.
Like a bright diamond.
Yeah, play that song right now.
So you've already got your project on a Facebook group. Can you please tell about that?
I just started with this little Facebook group just to see how like the reception would be. It's called Happiness, Old Tricks, New Advice. I don't even know the name of my Facebook group, but
I'll send a link to the description. We can forget.
Yeah, something like that. The link's gonna be below. And that was just to see if there was like any interest on the topic. At first I was thinking, as a drug addiction counselor, I was like, okay, I could focus on fighting, tobacco or fighting your addiction towards heroin or any, stuff like that. But I was like, it's very negative, and there's so many researches already on those topics, depression. But I was like, why not focus on something more like lighter, like that everybody can identify to. And I mean, happiness, like who is it like exploding with happy, like is overwhelmingly happy, or like, oh no, my happiness today is too much, I just can't deal with it. No, it's like we never have enough, or we can, and I think we all need like tricks on being more happy. And I think it's kind of like a domino effect. If I'm happier, then I'll make you happier, and just like
so much energy going in that minus 30 degrees. I don't know how you're not making people around you happy.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. So tell us a story of a turning point of the challenges in your life that turned everything around, and how you overcame it.
I was bloody in a dumpster after a night out. No, I woke up in a dumpster. I didn't know what happened the night before. Yeah. That's actually Corey Taylor from Slip. No, that's a story from him. Okay, you can edit that out. A turning point for me. When I came back, I already said that so many times. I don't know. Help me out.
Your own mental health issues.
Yeah. Fighting depression, I think was like a big part of it. Like, I think my mood swings up and down, it was kind of like, I didn't know, one morning I could wake up and I was like on fire, and just like I could take over the world and this and that. And a few days after, I was like, I didn't even want to go out or take a shower. And then, I actually starting to watch what I'm eating, and having that diet really, really helped me out with focusing my mind. And to be completely honest, you can stop here if you can edit that out. But actually, I started with microdosing. Can I say that or not?
Microdosing what?
I no, I'm not sure if I should say that. I started. Actually, I had a. Okay, so. Okay, whatever. I'm gonna go into that.
Please go for it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going for it. With the meditation, I really wanted to focus my mind and get my mind straighter. And with the meditation, it was cool. It was good, but in the city, it was hard for me to actually meditate. And then I always wanted to go and research shamanism, because I am partly Native American, so I wanted to go into that. You go to India, it's so far, it's such a meditation, very Asian, and we have so much medicines here and so much knowledge also here in North America. So I got into that, and I tried different medicines, and that actually really, really helped me to unlocking stuff in my mind. And with like continuous practices and continuous medicines, like not every day, but on time frames. And it's kind of like, okay, it's gonna be like, I'm gonna do this ritual every month or every 2 months or whatever, whether you feel like it or you don't feel like it. On the long run, it had a really, really positive effect on me on focusing my mind, bringing me down to like more earthly level. I think I'm very like scattered by nature. So these medicines, they really bring you down and help you a lot to focus and give you great insights. And that for me was really, really helpful. So yeah, I'm not saying that you should do anything illegal and anything like that, but yeah.
Well, I've been watching a lot of Gabor Mate's videos and how much researching this thing like deep levels. And he does keep saying, like, I'm not saying everyone should have it, but like
right.
the main important is what you do afterwards. So, like, you need to
Yeah.
have some sort of continuous therapy and like continuous work. Like, you don't just go there to see the light and everything's shiny afterwards. It's like, you know, you go deep inside and then you have to work.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think that's just such a valuable point, and I wish more people would hear that, because you know, you have like the fashion right now is like, okay, I'm gonna go to Peru and I'm gonna go into the jungle and then I'm gonna come back and everything's gonna be perfect, you know. And it's kind of like when you're there and you come back, it's kind of like a movie, you know. You just saw like a really cool movie with serpents. If there's nothing for you, like you just said, to integrate what you've learned, or there's not a practice or anything to support you after that, it's gonna go away, you know. It's so yeah, I really agree with you on that.
So, I mean, there's not one little, like, okay, people listening and they're like, I'm stuck, I don't know what to do. You know, like, you don't want to say to them, go have ayahuasca, it will change your life. But what's a little advice that you could give them that helped you?
If you guys like Gabor Mate, he for those of you who don't know, he's a doctor from Vancouver, and he started to deal with drug addiction, and he specializes well, he doesn't specialize, but he uses in different rituals ayahuasca, actually, which is, he does that like once a year, so it's not that often like people think. But he's having like quite a boom in the medical world, because he's very credible, very intelligent, and he's leading the way right now in how we treat addiction, and ayahuasca could be one of the paths. And he's like, listen to his he has a podcast with Tim Ferris, and it's really, really good. And he goes into that in yeah, you heard that? Yeah, it's really good. And he goes in depth into how, you know, when he was on ayahuasca, how great it was, and how he got all these insights, and how his kids were like really afraid of him, and how his wife was afraid of him because he was like very anxious and very angry inside. And basically, you know, after the ayahuasca, it all came back, you know. So it's kind of like a you know, I think one person I really like and admire also is Aubrey Marcus. He also has a podcast in the States. He's really cool, and he talks. He says, you know, that for him, you know, ayahuasca was cool, but he also needed like a special diet, and he also needed to train, and he also this and this. And I'm kind of like the same. I'm super anxious. I'm super nervous. You know, since ever. And for me, it wasn't like this one, oh yeah, I'll go to Peru for 1 month, it's done. No, you know, I would need to see a therapist. I don't, but I should. You know, the medicine from the, you know, shamanic medicine, my own medicine, what I eat, how much water I drink per day. Since I started drinking like water nonstop, like I feel much more relaxed, and my brain functions much better and all that stuff. I drink like over 2 liters a day. And, you know, so it's just like finding the right combination. You're kind of like, if you want to unlock your potential, it's kind of like a lock, and you need to play with all the right numbers. And then you see, whoa, this lock is like kind of opening, you know, I'm going further. It's things are just getting better, you know. And that's pretty much all the problems in life. Just finding that there's always a code, you know. And the codes are usually in the books as much as you can.
It's like having a full commitment to yourself, isn't it? It's like you're committed to yourself, to working yourself, and then you're like having all these angles to
working process. I'm not like there yet, but definitely feel like I'm onto something good.
I wonder if we know the answer already to this, but who's been your biggest inspiration in life?
Who's my inspiration? That's funny, because when I was a teenager, like all my inspirations were like, you know, rock stars, or, you know, music people and this and that. And was listening to a lot of rock and going to concerts and this and that. And then when I just got like more like mid-20s, older 20s, it was just like that. I didn't identify as much to musicians, you know. It was just like not the thing anymore. And then when I hit 30s, actually, I found out all these really cool people, like Gabor Mate, for example. He's one of my heroes. And I found just all these new heroes that I thought were like amazing, you know. Like, oh my God, I have the main guy from MAPS. He's in the USA right now, and he's doing a lot of research on MDMA, and MDMA and psilocybin might be legalized for therapy in the US for war veterans and other people who are, he's pushing the envelope like really far, and it was really hard. Like the FDA were like, it's never gonna happen, blah blah blah, and he's been doing it for like a really long time, and it actually might go through. So I think at one point in your life, it's kind of cool to be like, okay, you know, all these things that are making me unhappy or making our society unhappy for this or that reason. Well, maybe I can be a small contribution, like not putting like so much pressure on you to do everything, like be Superman, but just like small things that you can do that actually has an impact when you can. And I think that's really cool. So all these new people that started to inspire me, and I just started like reading and applying stuff that they were saying, and I don't know, I feel my life is better right now than it was like 2-3 years ago. Every year I feel is my best year, and I just want it to continue like that.
It's amazing how like something that's so against the whole world, you know, it's just against, it's like you never say never, right? Like these people are like making changes that is risking their life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you know, you can donate $10 to MAPS and they'll be super happy. You know, you can like all these, like we have such an impact like on so many levels. On just sharing a video on Facebook can have an impact, you know. It's like, it's not that difficult. You don't have to I'm going to start my own organization and do that. Like that's quite hard. It takes a long time to get traction and this and that. But yeah,
definitely. It's we're gonna write the link for that MAPS as well, because I like to spread their message, because I didn't know about them until now, but I feel like I know about them.
Yeah. They have the psychedelic. It's a conference in New York, which is amazing. And I'm still trying to, I feel so horrible to not remember his name. I actually saw him at the conference. Yeah, it's Psychedelic Horizons. And it's all the future of psychedelic and how it's going to be applied with modern therapy. Because I think psychology, you know, got really developed and it kind of stopped. Like it got really heated with psychedelics in the 70s, and then they wanted to kick the hippies out because they were against the war. So the easiest way to get the hippies into like a illegal like a state of people was to go after their drugs, just like they did with the blacks and the cocaine back like way back, and then the Mexicans with the weed, also with the border and all that stuff. That's why all drugs one after the other got illegal, you know. And now psychedelics, which, you know, if you take LSD the next day, it's not even in your bloodstream, you're good to go. Like, you know, alcohol is the worst drug, like nicotine is the worst drug, like you know, you guys know all that. But
yes, do your research, everyone. Your own. There's so much research out there.
Yeah. I'm not saying to take these things. Like it can really, you know, if your mindset is not right, like it can really mess you up. And like there's many ways to go up the mountain. You don't have to go that way. Absolutely not. You know, a lot of stuff for me gets me really, really paranoid. And I don't smoke weed. I can't smoke weed. It's just me. You know, everybody's different. But so yeah, but with psychology, they were doing a lot of research with psychedelics, and it was like kind of like what was hot topic kind of thing, and then it got illegal. So basically nothing happened pretty much with psychology since the 70s, and now it's coming back slowly. But you know, they're using it, you know, and they're developing it like in such a cool way, you know. You know, there was this guy, he's developing like sound. He's like this mastermind guy, and he's just like trying to mastering like your emotions as you're tripping. Let's say okay, so the setting is this. So you're on a bed and there's two like therapists next to you, right? And then you take psilocybin or something like that, and then you put like an eye patch thing, and then you also have like headphones, and then this music, man, is gonna guide you in your trip with music, and depending on the emotions that he sees that you're going through or whatever, he adjusts the music to that, to kind of like, and that's just his job. He's creating music for so it kind of sounds like weird, but I think like the future is going to get interesting. And I think like weed is becoming legal in the US and in Canada, and it's not cool because, oh yeah, I can smoke tomorrow morning, you know. I wouldn't start smoking because it's legal, and I think research proved that for most people. But it's just that we're getting back the freedom and the power, you know. It's like it shouldn't be legal, you know, and it's just like this, the little people, the small people are actually, getting more power. Like for example, this podcast, hey, we're using technology that like presidents in the 50s or 40s wouldn't even had, and we're seeing each other and talking to each other through, like, with technology, we're getting so much power. So anyways, things are changing really fast, but so yeah, we're just getting more.
So it's with psychedelics, it's like, don't try it at home, but get high with your therapist.
Well, that's where it's going. It's going to be like, okay, so what's your, you're going to go to your doctor, and then you're going to have an appointment, and he's going to be like, okay, so post-traumatic stress from a childhood abuse. All right. Well, how would you like maybe a LSD trip in a controlled environment, like this little fake forest that we made with therapists or good friends of yours. And then after 3 days or 4 days after, you're going to have we're going to talk about it. And then after, how about like an MDMA session with, your therapist again in this controlled environment, and this and that, and we're going to see how that goes. And the patient's going to be like, yeah, that sounds really, really interesting. Yeah, I like that. Okay, I'll take it. And I think that's where, it sounds like funky, but I think that's where we're going. And it's going to be, no more like dirty street drugs and dirty bikers selling bad shit to kids. Like all that is like prehistoric, I think. It's going to be like much more civilized.
So use the medicine, but not abuse it.
Huh?
Use the medicine.
Am I a biker?
You want to be a biker? So we're using the medicine and not abusing it, because it's ancient knowledge in that medicine too.
I think if you're young, I think all of your brain should be man, for women and men it's different, but your brain is like completely formed. Like, I don't remember, I think it's 21 years old or 22, somebody can correct me on that. And only at that moment, maybe you can consider altering it. Before that, you should never do that, because it can actually have damaging effects. But I think, we. What was the question?
There was no question.
What was the question?
It was a comment, but final question.
It was about legalization, no? And normalizing it, no?
It's gone, man. It's
laws?
go.
It's finished? I'll never have a take on that. Maybe if I listen to this interview one day, I'll be, this is where I wanted to go with that. Oh, such a good point. But never
I don't
mind.
want to disappoint you. All right, I said you have to use the medicine and not abuse it. Simple.
Oh, yeah, that was... Oh, thanks. Now you got me going again. Back on the topic. Change channel if you're sick of it, but
please don't.
No, put that Celine Dion back on. No, exactly. It should be like, absolutely medicine. And when you're abusing it, usually it's like it's mentally there's something. It's kind of like how do you call it, like a plaster, or when you're trying to walk and you have something under your arm like that, and you use it as a leg, a crouch. It's like a crouch. Usually when you start abusing drugs, what I notice is that it's that you're compensating for something, like something's unbalanced. That's not necessarily wrong, but you just need to use like the right drugs and not the bad drugs, because there's a lot of really, really bad drugs who will get you much worse. And then there's drugs that are actually beneficial for you. You know, caffeine is a drug. It's good when you're if you're tired and you have to drive. Okay, don't drive if you're tired. But caffeine is going to be really good. You know, that's a good time to take that drug. But nicotine is never a good time to take. You know, but native people here used to use tobacco, and it was completely fine. You know, it was great. It was like a communion. It was in between people. It was like when you would, you know, meet new people or do a pack with someone. You know, tobacco was distributed, but they've never abused it like we did, like the white people did. So,
but you're also talking about taking it to fill a hole inside you as well. Like that's one reason we experiment drugs.
Yeah, I think now we're going into religion, but like fundamentally there's something religious about us. Whoa, no.
Whoa.
Get back to Christianity.
Where is this going?
No. Where is this going? Don't talk about religion on my podcast, all right? Jesus.
Spirituality and philosophy, yeah.
Yeah, but no, I think we're just basically kind of a little lost, because we're meant to be spiritual. I really believe that. And if you're kind of like, well, I don't believe in anything, I think when we die it's just like you kill a computer and you're kind of a computer. Well, that's a belief system also. So it's kind of like you can't get out of it. It's just like you have to believe in what's going to happen after death. After it's you're meant to, like, who's never thought about that? You have to. So spirituality is just like ways of, you know, getting, you know, figuring out why are we alive, what are we doing, so these big questions in life, usually we actually don't get any answers from them. You know, it used to be like, here it was like tales, you know, they would, you know, we were born on the back of a turtle, and
what do you think is going to happen after we die? Like your person, like I'm not saying like, you know, I'm not saying we all have to believe in the same thing, but like everyone has their own sort of perception and like imagination of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
Well, we're going to heaven, right? No, or hell, no. Personally, you know what? I have a tendency towards Hinduism, and that's been like long time ago, like a long time ago.
Before you went to India.
This is I don't know how many people are gonna listen to this, but I'm gonna tell you guys a secret.
Millions of people.
So the millions of well, I don't even know. I don't even say that to my friends. But all right. So when I was young, I had a memory from my previous life. Bam! It said. So. Yeah, true story. So I kind of, for me, reincarnation kind of makes sense. I know I know it can seem like really out there, but yeah, to me, it's possible. I think there's definitely something else, and I think that I'm getting schizophrenic. No, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, just so we're on same level here. I would share. I would share something to
game on.
Pass that on. I don't know. I do believe in reincarnation 100%, and I remember during Vipassana meditation, I saw a lot of my own past lives, like all of it, all at once, and I was like, "Whoa, there I was." Recently, I questioned that. Because I feel like I don't know where I came from, sort of thing, and I was like, maybe I'm a new soul. I don't know, because maybe it was my imagination seeing all this life, or maybe I was observing other people's life. You know, I was just like, who knows?
Yeah, yeah, I know it. Well, yeah, if we get into that, I don't know. I like when you get a psychedelic experience from meditation or an altered state of mind from sleep deprivation or food deprivation or whatever. Yeah, how do you explain that? Boom, in your face. Well, find an answer, and that's spirituality, I think.
Yeah, it's all connecting the dots for yourself. So.
And let's connect the dot with, and that's the previous point that we wanted to make. So we're kind of like in this lostness because we're trying to fill that void of spirituality. So I think that's when some people don't answer these questions, and the result of it is actually filling it with alcohol or whatever, filling that void. And philosophy, I think, can just fill that void in a much better and less health harming way. We did a full circle here.
Okay. Why wasn't I there?
No, together, no. When you said that
I know. I
feel a crazy connection.
I feel like high from this fucking conversation, to be honest. I don't need to smoke anymore. This is what I need.
Oh, yeah? Hey, that's the prophecy of the Andes prophecy, that it, like, if people start talking about like higher vibration stuff, that the humanity is gonna go from the third to the fourth.
Yeah, we're already there, baby.
Wow, we're getting. Oh, I see your face again. Yeah, I think she's done with that. Dimensions and aliens.
Where's the 20th levels?
Knows. When are the aliens coming? I want to ask you a question. Do you believe in aliens? Have you guys had UFOs? We're going towards a completely different direction than possible. Now it's about UFOs. Okay. Cool. Have you guys had any sightings in Australia? Australia must be wild, man.
It's a very trippy land, let's just say, because there's a city, right? But then there's the ancient knowledge of like the dreaming and all that. So every time I'm here, I feel like I'm dreaming, like I'm seeing things that are real or not. But it's like, the only way you can see this so clearly is getting rid of that delusion and the fears and stuff. Because if you fear what of the unknown, then you're not going to see it. You're not ready to see it.
Right.
So believe it, don't believe it, just fucking see that shit for what it is.
Yeah. What did the native people of Australia, what was their rituals? Like, did they have like medicines that like stuff they would take, or they would do like meditations, or they would do like...
They began the dream world, so they will go to your dream and heal your soul, and your sickness will go away. That's like one little thing, like one little thing. They communicate with spirits as well. They just think that they're here, like
they like something, like if you look at their art, like something's on. I don't know, like from what and the didgeridoo, what the hell is that, man? How did they find that? Huh? The didgeridoo, but how wicked is that instrument? It's the coolest instrument on the planet. No? It's the most psychedelic thing I've ever... And it's kind of like the game Bob from New Zealand. I don't know if there was a connection, probably. But there is a connection with different arts around the planet, like the Australian art, like how the native people do this, like this wicked, like pastel... Which country did I see? They had art that was similar to that. So I was like, oh, how did you get to that conclusion? Like, I think it's like a mind state that you can go to.
Okay, there's two things that I'll mention about that. You're a drummer. So with your drumming, you can...
You know who I know?
Who?
And you know who's in concert this week in Montreal? A guy named Xavier Rudd.
Who's that? Let's add his link.
I thought he was like your biggest star. I thought like the biggest stars in Australia was John Butler and Xavier Rudd. No?
I don't know about Australia artists. I'm more international person. but I'm saying like one thing is drumming and the other one's dancing. Like if you dance for like hours, that's another way of feeling high,
Oh yeah, hell yeah. I agree. I had Brazilian roommates once, and they would never drink, and they would just dance all night till 6. Like they would outbeat everybody party-wise with no drinks, no drugs. And it was just like they would get into a trance dance thing, and it was really cool. And they just didn't get the alcohol thing. They were just like, why would you drink? Like, you're less.
Dance is just maybe sloppy.
You're getting sloppy. Get back on the fourth floor. Come on.
So now that we've talked about
dancing
so much, getting high, psychedelic, self-development, raising your vibration,
native art.
This has been part of like both you and I journeys of our self-development, self-work, self-healing. Yeah. How would your life be different if you didn't choose this path? If you're like, no, I'm just going to work hard and
become a lawyer. Wait, before that, I want to ask you a question. When are we doing the podcast on Marcy? I hadn't thought about that.
You have to start your
podcast. We ask you question, and we get to know the podcaster.
I've done an interview. I've done an introduction about myself, like a quick one. But I think, I don't know, as I like to ask the questions, but my stories come up
naturally, here and there. It's kind of like you have to, like Instant El Gretel, little pieces of bread to get the full loaf of bread. We have to listen to all the interviews and then put the pieces together.
Exactly.
Nicely put, nicely done. But we were talking about something. I don't know.
How would your life be different if you didn't choose this path of self-healing?
No, it was for me. I'm extreme. It was like life or death. It was like it was just like when I was like really depressed when I was a teenager. Like I was like really bad. So it was kind of like if I don't find an answer to this, then there's just nothing. Like that was how bad it was. So then so I got and then I started like making sense of stuff, and then then it made me want to live more, and then it made more sense of other stuff and made me want to live a bit more, and so I don't know, it's hard to explain. I don't know, for me at school it never went well. Like my teachers, I remember, were just telling me when I was really young that I was like not going to make it, or like really like mean stuff. So I don't know. I was like the class clown. So I don't know. I just didn't feel right. I don't know. Like it's I don't know where to go with this. I don't know where I'm going. But I just felt different. I couldn't be like on the. I don't know. I don't know. I felt I don't know.
As if you were like weird. You had a choice to stay in the box or stay out or search outside the box. You know, like.
Yeah, I kind of felt I was always out of the box. That's the thing. I'm not there. I never got the invitation. You know, I had bad grades at school. I dropped out. I was the outcast. Then I was, I went back to finish my high school. I was with, crack sellers and, naked dancers and like new immigrants and this and that. So that was pretty out of the box. And then I don't know. It was just like it never. And then when I had my first real corporate job was working with homeless people. So that was like not really, not really normal. I was seeing things that I smelled stuff there that no human should ever smell. I've been through a lot of special things there. So that was like not really normal. So I don't know. I don't know what to answer. I don't know. Why are you normal? Nobody's normal. I think.
I was never in the box. I mean, I worked at Salon for like 8 years, and I remember it was 2012 for me, and I was like, something was changing the air. Like, that year it was just like, what am I doing in this box?
So you had a tie in the corporate.
Not corporate. No, never.
But a little bit more.
Salon, you have to dress like I don't know.
What's the name of the place?
What place?
What?
I worked in hair salons.
Oh, you're a hairdresser. You actually have a really nice haircut. I didn't tell you, but I think
Thank you. I do it myself.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking now. It looks original. So okay, you did that. Well, yeah, I don't know. That's not that corporate.
No, never was.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like hipster. You're born a hipster, or you're never. You can't really get it. I don't know.
Gypsy, maybe. Not a hipster. Gypsy.
Did you become a gypsy?
Well, after that, I became more of a gypsy.
Modern gypsy.
When I left the working routine, the working routine is when I was more myself.
Yeah. Are your parents proud of you?
We have to end this. We have to end this show.
What?
We have to end this show now.
Why?
Because it's been an interesting conversation, and I want you to stay in contact with me, even though we are so apart. I'm gonna interview you again and again and again, because you really woke me up again.
What do you mean? Yeah, we had a good talk.
Yeah, I guess sometimes we sleep and we wake up and we die and we're reborn, and you need to keep bouncing energies. And
we have a good chemistry. Like, it was nice talking with you. Maybe people who are listening will be like, I didn't like listening to that. I don't know. Or maybe they'll be like, oh, that was really cool. I don't know.
Well, we attract the ones that we want to be attracted to,
I'm sure there's other people like us.
Yeah.
I'm like them. Bam.
We are not alone in this planet. There's how many people in this world?
We're rising up. The little, it's like Arcade Fire. There's always these little kids in their video clips, is because it's like the little people. Lights Out. That clip.
Yeah, the big kids.
Can put that. Yeah, we can put that in the link.
Yes, there's going to be a lot of information on the link.
Especially about aliens and UFOs, like the best Australian UFO sightings. I want that.
The most famous alien.
We had a UFO in Montreal that was the size of a football field, American football field. True story. Above Montreal. Bam. That's interesting. Wow. Yeah. That's really trippy. Let's end on that. Boom. And then put a spooky song.
No, is there article about that you could put on?
Yeah.
I don't know what happens in Canada.
In 94. Most people don't even know about it. Yeah. It's just, but in 94, there was a huge UFO sighting. We don't talk about that much. But the ex-Prime Minister of Defense of Canada is a big supporter of the UFO community. So, okay, I'm going to stop. Wow, that's huge, huh? That's huge. I know.
The media doesn't have to talk about that, but we can talk about it,
I'm going to start my own podcast on aliens.
Be careful who you talk to.
So we can fasten up the process of becoming an intergalactic species.
Max?
Yes.
Thank you.
Marcy. Thank you.
Keep being you. Keep planting seeds and keep inspiring.
Oh, wow. I like that. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on this wonderful podcast. I think what you're doing is really cool, and it's a really great subject. And I think you're a cool example of, just going after whatever you feel like. And if it feels right to you, then you just do it. And you don't ask yourself so many questions. And it's just good things will come out of it for sure. I'm sure, with action.
I ask other people the questions, not myself. Yes.
Huh?
I asked other people the question, not myself.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I like that. All right. Thank you for the show, and thank you.
I don't have to hang up, huh? When we stop recording, I don't have to hang up.
No.
Okay.
But we have to say bye to the audience. Thank you for listening, everyone.